Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. We have a great show for you lined up today, a full cast, taking a bit of a break from the March Madness, which is going to pick up hot and heavy starting tomorrow. We've got NHL, we've got NBA, we've got soccer, we've got me dropping a Houston Open pick very early. Don't forget about the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock. But ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the recap screen before we get started with the stars of the show. Buckets hits again. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Prop stars got a little unlucky. If you were watching Kristaps Porzingis, he probably should have hit that one, but 0 for 2 for him, an unusual day there. And then Larry hits his CBI pick. Seattle University covers easily, -7.5. He said played up to 8. That hit as well, obviously. All right, 2 and 2. That's okay. We had some plus money in there, so it technically was a pretty even day, but what we're going to do is make it a little bit better. Who am I going to do that with? The stars of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've got, like I said, a full cast. We got Buckets. We got Griffy Betts. We got Zack Cimini. We got Mikey B. And Zach, I want to start with you because you do a lot of college basketball, and today you've come with some NBA. I'm wondering, like, during weeks like this, is it almost like when you don't have college basketball, is it almost like a letdown, or is every day kind of the same for you?
Every day's kind of the same, honestly, depending on the year. This year, more so college basketball than the NBA. NBA has been harder than anticipated with all these changes to the regular season. But it's getting down to that time. We're getting down towards the end of the regular season, and playoff basketball is usually my strength. So I'm dialing in on the NBA as well, and we're going to get a winner today.
Awesome. I love the confidence there. Buckets, I got to get a P.O. box check. How we doing? Any new toys behind you?
No new toys on the shelf yet. I did pick up 6 more packages from the USPS, UPS, whatever it is, yesterday. So I saw I had one from Cheesy. That one did not smell, so I don't think he sent actual live cheese, real cheese, whatever you want to call it.
Griffey, I saw you kind of shaking your head like, was this for real? Like, I almost want to put a bookshelf behind me or some sort of shelving unit so I can pull off the same thing Buckets pulled off. Griffey, what's your reaction?
Yeah, it's just what a genius idea to just get all this free stuff sent your way. and the fact you just said live cheese is crazy, like it's like an animal or something. It's just ridiculous.
Well, we did find out, because we did get that live animal package. Someone sent me, it was a little test tube full of ants. So no notes, no instructions, just live ants. So
what a gift!
It's not on the shelf, but I have that now.
It's just unbelievable. All right, Buckets, we got to get to your pick. But Mikey B, before we get there, how you doing today? I didn't want to leave you out of the party here. I trust you came with NBA props.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying all this P.O. box discussion. I'm doing great. Ready for some hoops tonight.
All right, by the way, Shot Props is in the chat. He says, excited for these NHL bets from Griffey. So is everybody else in the chat. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do it. Chris Kish, I see you. Paul, second best. Kylie Reynolds, Big Cheesy in there with the eyes. Bradley Jacobs, as usual. Larry Bremner, thanks for being in here. Thanks for being a part of the discussion. If you have questions, put them in there. We'll try to get to them. But we got a full show, which means we got to get to a pick, right? Buckets, you've been red hot in soccer. You got another soccer pick, another plus money play. What do you have for us today?
See, I've been all about the plus money plays lately, and I found a line here that between you and me, full disclosure, full transparency, is flat out wrong. I'm going to the 2024 Euro qualifiers that are happening this afternoon, and I'm looking at the matchup between Georgia, the country, not the state, hosting Greece. And I'm looking at two sides that are just scoring like absolute mad right now. These are two offensive giants in great offensive form. I'm looking at this Greece side, and I think they might score 2 or 3 goals alone. I'm looking at Georgia, who is welcoming back their all-star, Kvaratskhelia. These are two really, really good offensive teams and two weak defensive teams. So the fact that we can get both teams to score at plus 105, to me, just isn't right. I was prepared to play this all the way up to minus 140. I was going to squeeze that juice, but I don't have to in a game that I think realistically could see 4 or 5 goals, Sia.
4 or 5 goals plus 105. It's exactly what we are looking for. If you want to make this bet or any bets, you can do it at BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's EDGE, E-D-G-E. All right. Well, listen, Shot Prop said it. We got to get to Griffey's picks. We got to get to my golf pick, which, again, it's Tuesday, but I got a tournament matchup I just want to throw out there early. We've got our early wedge show tonight. And, of course, we've got all the NBA picks and props from Mikey B and Zack Cimini. But before we get there, one quick message from our partners.
The best couch potatoes come from Pluto TV country.
And these taters, they like all sorts of different things.
Survivor Channel, Ink Master Channel.
If it's got a spaceship in it, I'm probably watching it.
3 channels dedicated to CSI.
Whatever mood you're in, it's going to be easy watching.
All right, we are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. By the way, Bradley Jacobs, I see in here, we cashed our pick yesterday, he says. We got a lot of picks from Bradley, from Big Cheesy, from Chris Kish, and I'm obviously there's like 5 or 10 others that are consistently putting picks in this chat. A lot of times they hit, sometimes they miss. Either way, we want to see your picks. We want to hear what you have to say about our picks, but also about your picks. So stay active in the chat. Hit the like button. All right, so we have the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm going to give out a pick right now that I'm also going to give out on the early wedge with Eric Cohen, Patrick McDonald, and of course, Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s. It's a tournament 3-ball. I don't usually get invested in tournament 3-balls. Usually it's just going to be tournament matchups for this, for me, which is, just a head-to-head, 1 versus 1. This one, though, because of the price, because of the plus 145, is very interesting to me because Steven Yeager is, well, I'll say this. He's a very good player that's been a little inconsistent over the last few tournaments. But when I put him up against Thorbjorn Olsen and Cameron Davis and how poorly Cameron Davis has been playing and how poor a course fit Thorbjorn Olsen is versus a Steven Yeager, this is where I really like this matchup. So the long and short of it is Steven Yeager, a very good player, very good all-around player. What that means, he's good with the ball striking. He's good with the short game. You're going to need that on this course. Olsen, he's actually really good on approach. He's decent with the short game, but off the tee, it's not that he struggles. He's just not a long hitter. And you'll find out tonight when you watch the early wedge, driving distance is going to be a factor here. It's something I'm really factoring in this tournament more than most. And Yeager hits it a lot longer than Thorbjorn Olsen. So Olsen, because of the off the tee slip-ups compared to Steven Yeager, I just don't think he is a match for him. And then Cameron Davis has been awful ball striking. If you were to look up his metrics, go on any of these sites where you can look up his metrics, you're going to need sunglasses. It's just glaring red everywhere, kind of like this shirt. And the long and short of it is his game is just off. Cameron Davis is a talent. Something's going on with his game. Steven Yeager, a good course fit, and he showcased that last year and the year before when he had good finishing position. So at plus 145, I really like this tournament matchup. Again, it's going to go over 4 rounds. It's a tournament matchup, but hopefully at least one of these 2 guys that he's playing against missed the cut, if not both of them. We had that last week with one of my head-to-heads. Candidly, I went 1-1 in head-to-head matchups, or I should say hit 1, lost 1. One of them we had done. We had already cashed it after the first 2 rounds. So hopefully that's the case with this tournament 3-ball. And a quick reminder before we get to Griffey's bets, that the early wedge, again, tonight at 7 o'clock, we will be covering the Texas Children's Houston Open, our outrights, our first-round leaders, our matchups, our 3-balls, everything, you name it, the finishing positions, T20, T30, T40, maybe some markets without Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, a plus 260 favorite. He probably is going to win this tournament. It's hard to say, but there are markets where you can bet without Scotty Scheffler in the mix. We'll explain that. We'll talk about it on the early wedge tonight. It might be something you're going to want to consider. All right, that's enough golf for now here on a Tuesday. Griffey, we got to get to you. So you have 2 props. One of them you might know I love. I'm in DC right now. I'm wearing Capitals red. And I don't know, arguably the best player of all time. Maybe in the last 20 years, 30 years, best player of all time. You have a prop on this guy. I don't know. Maybe you want to throw that back in my face. I'll let you have the floor on that. But you got a prop on Ovi, and you got another prop as well. You have the floor.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Ovi here. Before I get to the play, it is a gold prop. And I saw, 1 or 2 people in chat last week talking about they would only bet a goal if it's plus 300 or higher. And I love those odds always. I love finding those gems, but more importantly to me is finding a bet that makes a lot of sense. And I don't care so much about the price. And that's what Ovi is today. Alex Ovechkin goal plus 125. I've been on the Ovi train for a couple of games now. He's on fire. He scored in 5 straight. He's got 8 total. He's got 3 2-goal games in this stretch. This is a massive game tonight, hosting Detroit for that final wild card spot. Red Wings have been much looser on the road, allowing 4.3 goals per game last month and a half. The kicker here is on the power play. There's a massive power play edge for Caps tonight. Their home power play, one of the best over the last month, and Detroit's really struggled killing penalties. And if anyone watches the Capitals play when they get on the power play, that's just Ovi's just sitting up there on the wing, ready to rip the puck whenever it comes his way. And obviously he does it better than just about anybody. So plus 125, he scored 4 times last 6 games against Detroit. It's just one of those things. I'm going to just keep going on this ride until it backfires on me. So hopefully not tonight. Second play, this is super chalky tonight. I have a feeling that if you're following other people with hockey, everyone is going to be on it tonight. But I wrote it down yesterday, that being Nathan MacKinnon, over 4.5 shots at minus 120. I mean, he's playing Montreal, who've been getting peppered by centers all year. Most allowed on the season, second most last 10. McKinnon's just rolling. Colorado averages about 37 shots per game as a team at home over the last 45 days. McKinnon's a massive reason for that number. He's got 6+ in 6 straight, 8 of his last 9. He's got 7-5-7 last 3 against Montreal. And yeah, it's super obvious, but I think I would rather lose this by following the numbers than miss out on a win because it's just that obvious. I don't hate him up at 6 either, but 4.5, I was pretty surprised at this price. So I had to jump on that this morning.
All right. Absolutely love it. And I'm not going to lie, love the Ovi pick. I love how exciting hockey is already getting, at least for me. And I'm, full disclosure, I'm not like the biggest hockey fan of all time, but now that we're getting to the playoff hunt and teams really trying to jockey to get into like the final spot or one of the final spots, it feels, at least in some games, some atmospheres feel like playoff hockey. And I think anybody who's not even, you don't even have to be a hockey fan. If you haven't watched playoff hockey, or maybe you're not a hockey fan and you have watched playoff hockey, you know how invested you can get into it right away. So we're going to have Griffin with so many bets as we approach hockey playoff season and throughout hockey playoff season. I really genuinely can't wait for that. All right. We got to get to some NBA. We got to get to some Mikey B and some Zack Cimini. Before we do that, one quick message from our partners.
The blackout mystery remains.
Welcome to March Madness. You just never know in the tournament who is going to shine.
Stream March Madness live on any device, anywhere, and be ready for anything.
By the way, a lot of sharp golf accounts in here in the chat. I mean, Thigala top 20, Kylie Reynolds. I'm going to go on a show in 20 minutes and I'm going to give that play out. I haven't done all my research. Obviously, early wedges tonight. That's when I'm going to have all my finalized picks in there. But Thigala top 20 at plus 100, a very good look. Japan supports the Jaeger prop. We've got some other matchups that people are asking about, like Davis versus Montgomery. I would tend to lean Montgomery there, but that's a no play for me. And then Alex Noren versus Jaeger, minus 120. I guess Jaeger's minus 120 there. I would actually probably not play that one because Alex Noren has been very good here. The Jaeger play is more of a fade. I like Jaeger a lot, but it's more of a fade on Cam Davis specifically and a little bit of a fade on Olsen rather than, hey, I love Steven Jaeger this week. So I do like Steven Jaeger, but I'd probably stay away from that Alex Noren play. The around the green play is going to come into play in this tournament, and we'll talk about that more later tonight. All right, enough golf talk. Mikey B, you've got 2 guys out on the West Coast. You got D'Lo, you got Jonathan Kuminga, you got props. You got the floor.
We've only got 4 NBA games tonight, so we don't exactly have a bevy of options, but I found 2 player props I like. So first, we're going to start with a rare under for me. Jonathan Kuminga under 2.5 assists. There's some juice there at minus 147. The Warriors, they have a lot of excellent passers on their team. Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Draymond Green. Kuminga is looking to score. He's got a 24.4% usage rate. That's actually the second highest mark on the Warriors. Because of that, he has 2 or fewer assists in 8 of his last 10 games. This could be a pretty low-scoring game in general. The Heat have played at the second slowest pace in the league. So I'll pay the juice, and I'll take Jonathan Kuminga under 2.5 assists. And then we're going to go D'Angelo Russell over 19.5 points at minus 128. The last time he played the Bucks, he scored 44 points. Now, in that game, LeBron James did not play. He is doubtful to play tonight in this rematch. He has an ankle injury. The Bucks have given up the 7th most points per game in the league to opposing point guards. So with added shot attempts coming D'Angelo Russell's way, we'll take him to go over 19.5 points.
All right, over 19.5 and Kuminga under 2.5 assists and shot props and Griffin Carroll and others talking about some hockey picks. If you're not in the chat, get in the chat and read some of this stuff because Griffey, you're ratifying a couple of suggestions. These aren't official picks by any means, but before we get to Zach, Kylie Reynolds says, hey, Griffin, you like the Stars team total over 3.5, and it sounds like you like that one.
Yeah, I mentioned in there that third line of Wyatt Johnston, Logan Stankoven, they combined for 9 points. They played who were they playing? The Sharks a couple weeks ago. Wyatt Johnson had a hat trick, 5 points. Yeah, they should pour it on here tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say if I didn't kick it to you. So very, very smart answer there, Griffey. All right, Zack Cimini, we turn to you and we go to the NBA, but this time, instead of a prop, we have a side, and it goes by way of the Milwaukee Bucks. Talk to us.
Yeah, I'm going to lay it with the Bucks minus 8.5 against the Lakers. This is something we saw this high spread yesterday because, as Mike Barner just said, LeBron James was listed doubtful. So we finally knew the status of LeBron James, probably not going to play tonight. They've shown some ability to play against teams without LeBron James, as Mike alluded to, beat the Bucks just a week and a half ago. So they've shown the ability to do that. But I think this is more of a concerning spot for this LA Lakers team. This Bucks team's coming off a strong game against Oklahoma City Thunder on Sunday, limited SGA to just 12 points. The team scored just 93 points overall. And I just think you look at the Lakers in the second half of the season, they haven't been able to get past 3 wins. They're on a 3-game winning streak currently. The last time that they won 4 straight games, you have to go all the way back to early December when they beat the Pacers for the play-in title in the season. And this could be a complacency spot as well. You look at the Lakers in the standings; they're in 9th place. Really have a good lead on the Golden State Warriors, 3 games ahead of them. And they're not really going to catch the Dallas Mavericks, who are in the 7th spot. So it could be a complacency spot. This is their last extended road trip of the season, a 6-game road trip. Then they come back home, and then they finish off the season with a mini 2-game road trip. So their last extended road trip of the season. I think the Bucks handle this spot here. I'll lay it minus 8.5.
Yeah, the complacency spot is a very interesting way to characterize that. And I absolutely agree. And for the record, we have on SportsLine some picks related to this game. I'm pretty sure I saw Prop Stars drop a prop relating to this Bucks game and a Bucks player specifically. So if you're not a SportsLine member, sportsline.com/join, type in winners, you get 60% off the annual plan. Hey, Buckets, I got a question for you. B Mills, he says, Buckets, do you also like over 2.5 at plus 170 on your game today?
I do, B Mills, and I do Sia. I like both teams to score. I like over 2.5. I specifically like the Greece team total over 1.5 at plus 145. There's a lot of different ways you can play this, and they all make sense. I mean, if you look at Georgia right now, they've hit over 2.5 goals in 7 of their last 8 games, and Greece are coming off of that 5-0 beatdown of Kazakhstan. This one, I really think we'll see a lot of goals.
All right, I think we'll see a lot of goals. By the way, can I just say in the chat, you guys are talking about old school video games. And I'm of an age where I can appreciate some of this convo. I don't know. We don't have many of those on this show right now. But the dropping of Galaga just brought back a lot of fond memories. We're talking like Super Nintendo and Nintendo here and some of those. If you have an old school arcade game, you get to qualify for this question. You got to be in like, we're talking like late 80s, early 90s. If you have an old school, whether it's arcade game like the Golden Axe was a great arcade game, or like a Galaga on a Nintendo or an Atari or something like that. GoldenEye, Halo is in here. Drop it in there. We're bringing back memories here. All right, speaking of bringing back memories, let's take a look at the recap screen. Buckets, Georgia, Greece, both teams to score at plus 105. And don't forget B-Mills. He found something over 2.5 at plus 170 here. If you want to sprinkle on that, I've got a Houston Open round. Oh, this is not a round 1 play. Actually, this is a tournament matchup. So just to clarify, this is not a round 1 play. You'll find it at most books that have tournament matchups. You'll see this Steven Yeager plus 145 over Olsen and Cameron Davis. Frankly, it could also be a round 1 play, but I doubt it. So this is a tournament play. Check that out. Again, plus money, plus 145. Griffin Carroll. Ovi goal plus 125. It'll be an exciting game, folks. And McKinnon over 4.5 shots on goal, ratified by some people in the chat, including shot props. Mikey B, Jonathan Kuminga under 2.5 assists, minus 147. And D'Lo over 19.5 points at minus 128. And Zach, complacency spot for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's take the Bucks minus 8.5. And you're going to want to go to sportsline.com and join if you haven't already, because we got more picks relating to the Bucks. And by the way, for those of you asking about NIT plays, like Tuesday night plays for some of these more, I don't want to say obscure, but some of these lesser games than the March Madness. Again, you go to sportsline.com/join. I trust that there's going to be some college basketball picks, more NBA picks, more NHL picks, MLB picks coming up, soccer picks, name the sport, whether it's in the analysis tab or in the picks tab. We've got so much information across the sportsline.com site. So again, I can't stress it enough. If you want more picks than you got on the early edge, it's very, very easy, and it's extremely inexpensive. Sportsline.com/join. 60% off if you type in winners, all caps, in the promo code. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. We'll see you on Wednesday, except we'll see you earlier than that, right? Because we've got Inside the Lines coming out. Or is it Outside the Lines? I got confused with the ESPN promo. It's Inside the Lines at 5 o'clock every day, but don't forget the early wedge at 7 o'clock tonight with me, Patrick McDonald, and Eric Cohen. Thank you to everybody on the show. Zack Cimini, Griffin Betts, of course, Buckets. We got Mikey B, and of course, Jake the Snake on the ones and twos. A big thank you to the chat. Let's stay positive. Let's have a great day today. Let's cash some bets too, and we'll see you here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. This is the Early Edge. I am the counselor, and we rest our case.